Ladies and gentlemen, before we talk about success, before we talk about intelligence, before we talk about growth, let us talk about belief. Because long before we succeed or fail, long before we try or give up, something quiet happens inside us. A belief is formed, a belief about who we are, a belief about what we can do, a belief about what is possible for us and what is not. Most of these beliefs were not chosen consciously. They were handed to us by a comment made when we were young, by a comparison in a classroom, by a failure that hurt more than we admit, by a society that rewards perfection and punishes mistakes. Slowly, subtly, we learn to say things like, I'm just not good at this. That's not for people like me. I've reached my limit. And without realizing it, we begin to live smaller lives than we are capable of. But here is the truth, a truth supported by psychology, neuroscience, and human history. Your potential is not fixed. You are not a finished product. You are not defined by your past performance. You are not limited by yesterday's failures. You are a work in progress. And the difference between people who grow and people who stagnate is not talent, luck, or intelligence. It is mindset. As psychologist Carol Dweck explains, open quote, "The view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life." Close quote. Tonight, we are going to explore a powerful idea, the idea that abilities can be developed, intelligence can expand, and failure can become a stepping stone rather than a sentence. This idea is called the growth mindset. And if you truly understand it, if you truly live it, it will change the way you learn, the way you work, the way you fail, and ultimately, the way you become. Developing a growth mindset, the courage to become ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin with a simple question. How many of you have ever thought, even for a brief moment, I'm just not good at this? Not yet. Not I need more practice, but I'm just not good at this. Math, public speaking, leadership, languages, confidence, failure. That sentence, I'm just not good at this, has quietly ended more dreams than fear ever could. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something deceptively simple, yet profoundly transformative, developing a growth mindset. Not as a buzzword, not as a motivational poster, but as a way of seeing yourself, your struggles, and your future differently. Because a growth mindset is not about being positive all the time. It's about being brave enough to believe that who you are today is not the limit of who you can become. The two mindsets that shape our lives. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced the idea that we tend to live in one of two mental frameworks, a fixed mindset or a growth mindset. A fixed mindset whispers, your intelligence is set, your talent is what it is. If you fail, it means you're not good enough. A growth mindset responds, skills are built, not given. Effort changes the brain. Failure is feedback, not a verdict. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us don't live entirely in one mindset or the other. We switch. We grow in some areas and stay stuck in others. We encourage growth in our friends, but judge ourselves harshly. And that's human. But the direction you lean toward over time quietly shapes your career, your relationships, your confidence, and even your happiness. Why a fixed mindset feels so safe? Let's be honest. A fixed mindset is comfortable. If your abilities are fixed, then you don't have to risk failing. You don't have to feel vulnerable. You don't have to face the pain of effort without immediate reward. When you believe, I'm just not good at this, you protect your ego. But you also imprison your potential, because the fixed mindset doesn't just fear failure, it fears growth, since growth requires discomfort, and discomfort feels like danger to the brain. What a growth mindset really is and isn't. A growth mindset does not mean pretending everything is easy, smiling through struggle, believing effort alone guarantees success. A growth mindset means accepting that learning is messy, understanding that progress is nonlinear, trusting that effort compounds over time. It means replacing the question, can I do this, with how can I learn to do this? That shift changes everything. The neuroscience of growth. Here's something remarkable. Your brain is not static. Every time you struggle, every time you practice, every time you push past confusion, new neural connections form. Effort literally rewires your brain. So when something feels hard, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means your brain is growing. Difficulty is not a warning sign. It's an invitation. Failure, the greatest teacher we avoid. Let's talk about failure. Failure hurts. It bruises our pride. It exposes our limitations. But failure is also the most honest feedback system we have. People with a fixed mindset see failure as, open quote, proof that I'm not good enough. Pod, close quote. People with a growth mindset see failure as, open quote, information about what to try next, close quote. The difference is not resilience. It's interpretation. The stories we tell ourselves. Every one of us carries an internal narrator. That voice explains events, assigns meaning, and decides what we believe is possible. A fixed mindset narrator says, you failed because you're not smart. Others are naturally better. Why even try? A growth mindset narrator says, you failed because you're learning. Others practiced longer. What can I adjust? Same event, different story, different future. Effort is not a sign of weakness. Somewhere along the way, we learned a dangerous lie, that needing effort means lacking talent. But effort is not evidence of inadequacy. It is evidence of engagement. The most accomplished people in the world are not those who avoid effort, but those who befriend it. They expect difficulty. They normalize struggle. They don't quit because it's hard. They quit only when they stop caring. Praise identity and the trap of being smart. Many of us were praised for being smart, gifted, or talented. And while that felt good, it came with a hidden cost. When your identity is built on being smart, failure becomes terrifying because it threatens who you think you are. A growth mindset shifts praise from identity to process. Not you're brilliant, but your strategy worked. Not you're a natural, but your persistence paid off. This creates courage instead of fear. Growth mindset in real life. A growth mindset shows up when you ask for feedback instead of avoiding it. You say, I don't know yet instead of I can't. You see others' success as inspiration, not competition. It shows up in classrooms, boardrooms, relationships, parenting, self-talk at 2 a.m. when no one is watching. Because mindset is not what you say publicly. It's how you interpret your private moments of doubt. The power of yet. One word can transform your thinking. Yet. I'm not good at this yet. I don't understand this yet. I haven't reached my goal yet. That word creates psychological space for growth. It keeps the door open. Choosing growth is a daily practice. Developing a growth mindset is not a one-time decision. It's a daily choice. Some days you will choose growth. Other days, fear will win. And that's okay. Progress is not perfection. The goal is not to eliminate self-doubt, but to stop obeying it. The cost of not growing. Let me leave you with this thought. The greatest risk is not failing. The greatest risk is never discovering what you are capable of becoming. A fixed mindset asks, open quote, what if I fail? Close quote. A growth mindset asks, open quote, what if I grow? Close quote. And that question, asked consistently, courageously, imperfectly, can change a life. Closing. So today I invite you to be curious instead of critical, to replace judgment with learning, to trade fear for possibility. You are not finished. You are not defined by your past. You are not limited by your first attempts. You are a work in progress. And that is not a weakness. That is your greatest strength. Ladies and gentlemen, let us pause for a moment. Think about the person you were years ago, the fears you had, the things you didn't know, the challenges that once seemed impossible. And yet, here you are. You learned, you adapted, you grew. Not because it was easy, but because growth is human nature, when we allow it. A growth mindset does not promise a life without struggle. It promises a life where struggle has meaning. It does not say, you will never fail. It says, open quote, failure will not define you, close quote. It does not say you will always be confident. It says, open quote, you will keep going even when you doubt, close quote. A growth mindset is the courage to say, I don't know yet. I can't do this yet. I failed and I learned. In a world obsessed with perfection, growth mindset gives us permission to be unfinished. And that is not a weakness, that is freedom. Because when you believe you can grow, you try more, you learn faster, you recover stronger, you live braver. As Nelson Mandela once said, open quote, I never lose. I either win or learn. Close quote. So as you leave this room, I invite you to carry one simple belief with you. You are capable of becoming more than you are today. Not tomorrow, not someday. Starting now. Choose effort over ego. Choose learning over fear. Choose growth over comfort. Because the most powerful transformation you will ever experience is not changing your circumstances, it is changing the way you see yourself. And when your mindset grows, your life follows. Thank you.